Hey everyone, and welcome back to the All Sorts podcast. You know, sometimes we stumble upon these stories that are so incredible, so unexpected, that you kind of got to wonder how you've never heard about them before.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what we're dealing with today.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The remarkable journey of the 888th Central Postal Directory Battalion.
Yeah, the 6888th. It's fascinating because they weren't just any battalion. This was an all-black, all-female unit.
Wow.
Serving overseas in World War II.
Really?
The only one of its kind.
So to really get a feel for their impact, we need to remember what America was like back then. 1945, a nation at war, but still so divided along racial lines. I mean, the military itself was segregated, and women, forget about it, opportunities were so limited.
It was a time when black women were expected to stay silent, stay in their place.
Right.
But the 688th,
Yeah.
they shattered those expectations.
Okay, so picture this. Europe, 1945. The war is raging, and millions of letters and packages meant for American troops are just piling up, undelivered.
Mountains of mail.
We're talking enough to fill entire airplane hangars.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine the logistical nightmare?
It was more than just logistics, though.
Oh, really?
This mail backlog was a huge blow to morale. Think about it. These letters, these packages, they were a lifeline for those soldiers.
Oh, yeah, of course.
A connection to their loved ones, a reminder that somebody was waiting for them, thinking about them.
That's like a piece of home.
Exactly.
So that's where the 888th step onto the scene.
Yeah.
Roughly 850 black women.
Led by Major Charity Adams.
Shipped off to Birmingham, England in February 45. Their mission: clear this impossible backlog.
And their arrival, not exactly a warm welcome.
I can imagine.
They had to dodge U-boats on the way over.
Oh, wow.
Witnessed a V-1 rocket explosion right after they landed.
That's terrifying.
And then they're assigned to these dimly lit, rat-infested airplane hangars to work.
Oh, not exactly a five-star hotel.
No, not at all.
Okay, so let's unpack this mail situation. What made this backlog so difficult to clear? I mean, on the surface, it's just sorting mail, right?
You would think so.
Yeah.
But it was so much more complicated than that.
Yeah.
You've got to consider the context.
Right.
These service members were constantly on the move.
So the addresses were outdated.
Exactly. And then there were the duplicate names.
Okay.
Can you imagine trying to sort mail for 7,500 men named Robert Smith?
Wait, 7,500 Robert Smiths. How do you even begin to keep track?
And it gets worse.
Oh, no.
Incomplete addresses, nicknames used instead of legal names, mail for soldiers who had been killed in action. It was monumental.
Logistically and emotionally.
Absolutely.
So what did the 688th do? Did they just throw their hands up and say, good luck with this mess?
Not a chance. They adopted the motto, no mail, low morale, and got to work.
I love that.
What they accomplished in those hangars was unbelievable.
Give me the numbers. How much mail are we talking about?
On average, they processed 65,000 pieces of mail per shift.
Per shift.
Per shift.
Whoa, that's like, I can't even wrap my head around that number.
65,000 letters and packages handled by these women every single shift.
That's mind-boggling.
It really is. And they didn't just brute force it. They came up with systems. Meticulous filing systems. They were tracking soldiers by serial number.
Wow.
They were deciphering incomplete addresses like detectives. And you know what? They cleared a 6-month backlog in just 3 months.
3 months. That's incredible.
They were a force to be reckoned with.
Right.
But their success in Birmingham was just the beginning.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, yeah. Their efficiency earned them a new mission. Rouen, France.
Another mountain of mail.
You got it.
So on to France they went. But I have a feeling their journey was far from over.
You're absolutely right.
So what happened in Rouen? What new challenges were waiting for them?
That's a story for part 2.
Oh, man.
But before we dive into that, let's take a moment to remind you that you're listening to the All Sorts podcast. We're unearthing those hidden gems of history, bringing you stories that'll spark your curiosity and ignite your imagination. And if you're loving this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel on YouTube.
We've got a whole library of fascinating deep dives waiting for you, covering everything from the mysteries of the cosmos to the intricacies of the human mind.
We really do. And hey, make sure to follow us on X, Instagram, and Threads so you don't miss out on any future episodes. We'll be back soon with part 2 of this incredible story.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We're picking up right where we left off with the 688th Central Postal Directory Battalion in Paris, 1945.
Paris. City of lights, romance, maybe a chance for these women to finally catch their breath after tackling those massive mail backlogs.
Well, Paris was certainly a change of scenery,
I bet.
but their mission, far from a leisurely stroll along the Seine.
What kind of challenges were they facing this time? Was it another mountain of mail?
Mail was a constant, of course. Right.
But in Paris, they ran into a whole new problem: package theft.
Oh, wow.
The war had really taken its toll.
Yeah.
Scarcity was everywhere, and it led to this rise in black market activity.
So it wasn't just sorting mail anymore. They were like postal detectives.
You could say that.
Wow.
They had to investigate these thefts, track down stolen goods, work with the local authorities to combat the black market.
It's incredible how adaptable they were.
It really is.
From clearing backlogs to fighting crime, they could handle anything.
Their skills and determination were constantly put to the test.
Yeah.
But we can't forget, these were women working within a system designed to limit them.
Right.
Their accomplishments.
Right.
Remarkable.
Absolutely.
Yet they still encountered prejudice.
Even in a supposedly liberated Paris.
Sadly, yes.
You know, it's easy to get caught up in the numbers, the millions of letters processed, the speed at which they cleared those backlogs.
It is.
But I think it's important to remember the individuals, their personal stories, to really understand what they went through.
Those numbers represent real people.
Yeah.
Real people with hopes and dreams and fears.
Right.
And there's one story that really captures the spirit of the 888th.
Oh.
The story of Romay Catherine Johnson Davis.
Tell me about her.
She was a private first class in the 888th assigned to the motor pool, driving trucks and cars in a war-torn country.
Wow.
Just imagine navigating those roads.
Yeah.
Dealing with shortages and facing prejudice as a black woman in that era.
She must have been so strong.
She was incredibly resilient.
Yeah.
And you know what? Her story doesn't end with the war.
Really?
Romay Catherine Johnson Davis lived to be 102 years old.
102.
She passed away just last year.
Wow, that means she witnessed so much change.
She did.
From the segregation era to the civil rights movement to the modern day.
She lived through it all, and after the war, she continued to lead a remarkable life.
What did she do?
She became a fashion designer.
Wow.
Earned a black belt in Taekwondo in her 70s.
No way.
And even worked at a grocery store in her 80s.
That is incredible. Talk about embodying the spirit of the 6888th. Perseverance, determination, a refusal to be defined by limitations.
And a reminder that recognition, even if it comes late, can be so meaningful.
Definitely.
Romay Catherine Johnson Davis actually received the Congressional Gold Medal at the age of 102.
That must have been such a powerful moment for her.
It was a long time coming.
Her story is so inspiring. It's a powerful reminder that history isn't just dates and battles. It's about people.
Exactly.
Their lives and their legacies.
Speaking of legacies, let's get back to the story of the 888th basketball team.
Oh, yeah, the team that was disinvited from the Army All-Star team because of their race.
Yeah, a stark reminder of how pervasive segregation was.
It's just unbelievable that even something as simple as playing basketball could be affected by prejudice.
It was everywhere.
I bet they didn't let that stop them, though.
Absolutely not. They channeled that frustration into motivation and went on to win the European Theater's basketball championship that year.
Now, that's how you make a statement.
They really showed them.
It's like their whole story is filled with these moments of defiance, pushing back against injustice.
Like when they were denied entry to the Red Cross Club.
Oh, right. Instead of accepting segregation, they boycotted the club.
They refused to be treated as second-class citizens.
Such a powerful message.
And it wasn't just about making a statement. It was about solidarity.
Yeah, that sense of sisterhood, looking out for one another.
Yeah, exactly, especially considering the long hours, the difficult conditions, being so far from home.
It's no wonder those bonds became so strong.
They relied on each other for support, for encouragement, for camaraderie.
And those bonds, that sisterhood continued long after the war.
It did, through reunions, through shared memories, through the fight for recognition.
That's a great point. Their story isn't just about their service during the war, it's about the power of human connection.
The strength that comes from shared experience and a common purpose.
Exactly. So how has their story resonated in the modern era?
Their story's been featured in documentaries, museum exhibits. There's even a Broadway musical in development.
A Broadway musical? That's amazing.
It really is. It just goes to show the enduring power of their story and its relevance today.
It's still so relevant.
Issues of race, gender, equality, they're all still so important.
They are. The 688th's legacy is a reminder that the fight for justice and equality is far from over.
And that we all have a role to play.
Absolutely. You can't let their sacrifices be forgotten.
That's where we'll pick up in part 3 of our deep dive.
Okay.
We'll explore the long road to recognition for the 6888th and the ongoing efforts to make sure their legacy continues to inspire future generations.
Welcome back to our deep dive into this extraordinary story of the 6888th.
We've seen their achievements, the barriers they broke, those personal stories that really highlight their strength and resilience.
And now we're going to explore a different kind of battle.
Okay.
A battle for recognition.
Why?
That spanned decades. You see, despite everything they did during World War II, the 6888th came home to a nation that, well, largely ignored their sacrifices. It's hard to believe that after all that, after all they accomplished, they were essentially forgotten. Disbanded, no fanfare, their story just fading away. It makes you wonder, how could that happen?
It's a painful truth about history,
Yeah.
about whose stories get told and whose stories get silenced. Especially back then, contributions of Black women were often overlooked.
Their voices marginalized.
Exactly.
But the story of the 6888th didn't end there. It took time, but eventually their legacy was unearthed thanks to the people who refused to let their story be forgotten.
And that's where we're going now, to the long road to recognition. And it all started with the women themselves.
You know, that's what really strikes me about this story. That initial push for acknowledgement, it came from the veterans of the 6088th.
They organized reunions, shared their experiences, they kept the memory of their unit alive.
They understood the importance of their shared history.
Not just for themselves.
But for future generations.
Right. They wanted to make sure that their service wouldn't be erased from history.
What I find so inspiring is that these reunions, they became more than just social gathering.
Oh, yeah.
They evolved into platforms for advocacy.
For raising awareness.
About the 688th and what they contributed to the war effort.
They knew their story deserved to be heard.
And they made sure it reached a wider audience.
Yeah.
That's incredible, that spirit, that refusal to be silenced. It paved the way for broader recognition.
It really did. And a pivotal moment came in 1981, over 35 years after their service.
Wow.
When many of the 688th veterans returned to England and France.
Wow.
They were finally honored in the very countries where they had risked their lives.
Can you imagine that? Being recognized decades later in the places where you served, where you faced danger and discrimination?
This has been so emotional.
A powerful moment of validation.
It was. And that trip to Europe sparked a renewed interest in their story.
Yeah.
It caught the attention of historians, journalists, filmmakers.
They started to dig deeper.
Exactly. And their story began to appear in documentaries, museum exhibits, books, finally reaching a wider audience. Bring their legacy to light.
It's almost as if their story was lying dormant, waiting for the right moment to reemerge.
And as more people learned about the 6088th, the calls for formal recognition grew louder.
People started to recognize the injustice.
How these women had been denied the honors they deserved.
Their sacrifices overlooked for far too long. It's a reminder that sometimes justice takes time.
It does.
But it's also a reminder that we must never stop fighting for what's right, for acknowledging the contributions of those who have been marginalized.
Absolutely.
And those efforts to secure formal recognition gained momentum.
Yeah.
In 2018, there was a huge step forward.
The unveiling of a monument in their honor at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas.
It's a physical, lasting tribute, a place where people can learn about their story and be inspired by their courage.
A powerful symbol of their perseverance, their dedication, the barriers they broke.
That monument was huge, but it wasn't the end. In 2019, the 6888th was finally awarded the Meritorious Unit Commendation, formally acknowledging their service during the war.
Long overdue.
Yeah, a sign that things were changing.
That progress is possible.
Even if it comes slowly.
But the ultimate recognition, the pinnacle of this fight, came in 2022.
The Congressional Gold Medal, the highest civilian honor bestowed by Congress.
A moment of immense significance, not just for the surviving members of the 6888th, but for everyone who fought to make sure their story was told.
Their place in history cemented, recognizing their achievements, the barriers they broke, the sacrifices they made.
A symbol of their unwavering spirit, their dedication to service, and the power of their story.
To inspire future generations, their story is a beacon of hope.
A testament to resilience, determination, the unwavering pursuit of justice.
And it all started with a simple mission: to deliver the mail.
But they delivered so much more than that.
Hope.
Connection.
A powerful message about strength and resilience.
Their legacy challenges us to honor their memory by continuing their work.
By striving for a world where everyone has the opportunity to reach their full potential.
Regardless of race, gender, or background.
And their story reminds us that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can shine through.
Breaking down barriers and achieving the impossible. So, as we wrap up our deep dive into this incredible journey, let's carry their spirit with us.
Let's be inspired by their courage, their determination, their unwavering commitment to making the world a better place.
And let's never forget the power of storytelling.
Of preserving and sharing the stories of those who have fought for justice and equality.
Because it's through those stories that we learn, we grow, we find the strength to continue the fight. And remember, the journey doesn't end here. If you want to learn more about the 6888th, their individual stories, the efforts to honor their legacy, there's so much out there.
Online, in libraries. And if you're looking for more deep dives, more discussions, more inspiring stories, make sure you subscribe to the All Sorts podcast on YouTube.
And follow us on X, Instagram, and Threads.
We're always exploring, and we love hearing from you. Until next time, keep that curiosity alive.
Never stop learning.
And never forget the incredible legacy of the 688th Central Postal Directory Battalion.
This is the All Sorts podcast, signing off.